only podcast on the planet talking about filmmaker Martin Scorsese and his works. No other podcast will ever talk about this man because, it's not like he's been in the news or anything
We signed an
lately.
exclusive deal.
Yeah.
The exclusive home of Martin Scorsese discussion.
Yeah, I'm sure that he would absolutely love what we have to say about like classic cinema or Dex's take that Taxi Driver was a B plus.
Yeah,
Like,
Taxi Driver, a solid film.
Yeah, episode 160. We were off for a week because I was gallivanting around Scotland, and I didn't think I could see Killers of the Flower Moon while on vacation. So I finally parked my ass for the length of what
Not
amounts
just
to
vacation, your anniversary trip.
Yeah.
Not just vacation.
Yeah, I don't think it was going to go over well if I had to park my ass for something as long as what amounts to what is actually longer than a current day baseball game in the pitch clock era.
Facts.
But wow,
I'm certain the last baseball game that was ever played, Game 7 of the World Series, was much shorter than this. Game 7 of the ALCS, I mean.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Something that I didn't even pay attention to because baseball doesn't exist anymore. I don't know if anyone knows that. Sorry if you're tuning into this channel to see baseball talk. I've never heard of it.
Congrats to those Rangers. Best team in the division, best team in the world.
Why are you congratulating the police force of the state of Texas? I don't understand.
Are you a cop?
Are you a
cop? So Killers of the Flower Moon. Wow. We're finally here after many years, actually, of just seeing that one picture of Leo looking extremely weird. With
unrecognizable.
Yeah.
This is that movie. Doesn't that feel insane?
Yeah.
I
kind of had a moment where I was like, I don't think this movie's ever coming out. Like, I knew it was, but I was like, Martin Scorsese might, like, the way he's talking might kick the bucket before this one. Like, he's fine. Everything's fine. I'm not wishing ill will upon the man. I'm just saying the way he's talking about retiring and such, it's just like, is this going to come out before? Is he okay? Like, it's just like, it took that long to come out.
It was like the George R.R. Martin's next book. It's like, I don't know. Like, we'll see.
It's definitely done. There is a movie. You know what I mean? There is a book.
Did y'all see that George R.R. Martin dropped a book today? And it was a Game of Thrones cookbook.
Oh, suck my.
That actually happened.
Look, we don't body shame, but that fat rich fuck. Like, finish the book, dude.
Yeah, we never body shame, but fat fuck is funny every time.
It's just like, come on, man. Anyway, I love how he just was like, I can't, he's somehow reversed into having goodwill because they fucked the end of that series up so bad that he's like, if I just don't do it, I'll never have to like go up against like that shitstorm.
He's a super villain.
I'm in the clear. Anyway, Killers of the Flower Moon came out a couple of weeks ago by the time that you're listening to this. 2023 movie, 8.1 on IMDb, rated R, 3 hours and 26 motherfucking minutes long. Trending number 2 popularity movie overall right now. Let me just see. Want to get Five Nights at Freddy's currently trending number 1.
Do you see how much money they made with Five Nights at Freddy's?
Dude.
Holy shit.
That chat on everything.
Bro, it's going crazy.
What the
You want to play Guess the Box Office, Dex?
I looked at it, so I'm not going to guess.
Fucking 25 million.
No, brother.
You got them fucked up.
$20 million budget. Opening weekend in U.S. and Canada, $80 million.
Good God!
Gross worldwide so far, basically $150 million for Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
I didn't know people fucking cared that much.
I heard it wasn't even very good, but everybody saw that shit except for me and Dex.
Well, they didn't put out a scary movie on Halloween.
Yep,
That
that's what
was
it
a
was.
scary movie on Halloween.
Everybody
Gen
was like,
Z
well,
loves Five Nights at Freddy's. They grew up playing it or watching people play it, which was the big thing. And it has like the weirdest Rotten Tomato score I've ever seen, where it's like a 20% critic score, but like an 89% audience score. So it's like
critics have been killing that shit.
Hey, bro, I was asleep apparently. I didn't realize that many fucking people cared about whatever Five Nights at Freddy's is. But shout out.
Anyway,
hey, bro, PG-13 horror movies are kind of back. Just saying.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Is PG-13, so like kids went and saw it.
I've never played that game, and I didn't think that trailer looked particularly good. But when that shit hits streaming, I'm gonna load it up. They made too much money. I've been convinced.
It's already on streaming. They dropped it day and date, and it still made $150 million.
Are you serious?
What the? Martin
Peacock
says he could never.
Peacock dropped it day and date, I think, and it still made $150 million. Or if not day and date, like the weekend of.
That's insane. Ant-Man, the new Ant-Man movie wouldn't even have done that. Once people got a whiff of how that shit stunk, nobody was going to go to the movies to see that shit.
Oh,
this is genuinely like a phenomenon. Like I don't think they'll be able to ever replicate that again, considering what we know about day and date release, especially through HBO Max. But like, it's genuinely, I mean, it's IP driven, but everything is. It's genuinely a phenomenon. Because if you told me like The Flash didn't make money, but if they were like The Flash is dropping on HBO Max, I wouldn't have gone and seen it in theaters.
No, hell no.
No.
So
I would have fucking sat there with my MacBook being like, is that Nick Cage? Like,
yeah.
Are you serious?
Let me put on my glasses. Is that Nick Cage?
Oh, that's amazing.
This must be fucked up. Hold on.
Is that a reincarnated Matt Reeves? Unbelievable. Okay, anyway, back to Killers of the Flower Moon. This movie didn't make as much money. Sorry to Scorsese, but I mean, he's not hurting for it. When oil is discovered in the 1920s Oklahoma under Osage Nation land, the Osage people are murdered one by one until the FBI steps in to unravel the mystery. That's not necessary. The FBI part of that is not necessarily how this movie plays out. I know it's a huge part of the book. Basically, Tej, if I'm not mistaken, I downloaded the audiobook. That is the book, is like how the FBI came to be.
It's very FBI focused because this is basically the onset of the FBI, and it's also kind of a whodunit. Like it's kind of a we don't know. We'll introduce you to all the main players, and we'll tell you maybe their motivations, but we're not going to really reveal to you right up front like what's going on. And obviously, the movie is extremely different than that in terms of how it approaches. Like it's very different.
Scorsese takes a completely different approach to that. We can talk about why and how in our review in like 2 minutes, but 89% on 89 Metascore, one of the highest Metascores you'll ever see. Let's see, 93% Rotten Tomatoes score, 85% audience score. Written and directed by Martin Scorsese. Eric Roth took a turn at the screenplay, but then Martin Scorsese came in for real rights. Initially, Leo DiCaprio signed up to be the FBI agent in this, and then Scorsese rewrote it from the perspective he wanted to make the film. So Leo decided that, hey, I want to play the 28-year-old, and so they did that. Stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro. The first time that they've essentially been on screen together since the 90s, which is hard to believe.
Crazy.
Yeah, that is hard to believe.
It's also hard to believe that like they've never been in a Martin Scorsese movie together, but it is so cool to see literally Martin Scorsese's muses come together on screen.
It's like they've been trading like every time. They're like, you'll do one, I'll do one. Like, now they're together.
The absolute star of this film and should be nominated and will be nominated, Lily Gladstone as Molly Burkhart. And then our good boy, Jesse Plemons, makes an appearance as FBI agent or Bureau of Investigation agent Tom White. Also,
Mark Texas's finest, baby.
Hell yeah, brother. Playing a guy from Texas, so he didn't have to go that far out of character. John Lithgow and Brendan Fraser make an appearance. Just
incredible shit.
The most
Incredible.
distracting cameo
Yeah.
I've seen this year outside of CGI Nicolas Cage. Like Brendan Fraser popped up on screen, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening? Why is the whale here?
Thick Fraser popping up on screen too. I'm like, Jesus.
Why is
Jeez.
the whale in this movie? What are we
Yeah.
doing? Get
I have
away from
always
me!"
loved John Lithgow. Like I literally used to watch Third Rock from the Sun, like when I was in high school, when I went to bed at night. I love John Lithgow. So to see him just randomly pop up in this movie, I almost jumped out of my seat. I was so happy to see him, man. That was amazing.
There's also a host of native actors in this, but I just want to shout out Cara Jade Myers as Anna. She was awesome. But then again, there's just like Jason Isbell is in this movie as Bill Smith, like
Bill Smith.
giving an awesome performance. He's awesome. And then again, Sturgill Simpson is also in this movie. Shout out to that guy having a year. But yeah, and then a host of other character actors of which
Martin
you've seen.
Scorsese shows up at one point.
That's right. He does show up in the film.
Well, let's not ruin that. Let's not ruin the Avengers cameo at the very end of the movie. So play a guess the box office. $200 million budget. Literally Five Nights at Freddy's was $20 million.
God damn.
I'm gonna say they've made to date domestically $65 million.
Domestically, you would be wrong, but let's do worldwide. Worldwide box office. Let's do worldwide. Tej, go ahead.
Jesus Christ. Let's say $75 million.
Okay, Dex. The Price is Right.
80.
The Price is
Lower.
Right, Bob. They have made $87 million worldwide.
What's it domestic?
43 million.
Jesus.
And I don't. Why? Like, can we talk about why? We talk about the business of movies a lot on this, and for people that aren't in the industry and don't know shit, just from the outside, why did this happen? Was it the length? Was it
two things? One, the length, and two, you're not going to convince people to, especially like white people, to go sit into the theater en masse and go through the white guilt experience of this film, which is apparent from the trailer. You know the white guilt is ramping up. These are the most evil fucking people that you've ever seen, bro. These people are subhuman, man. And so that's a tough hang for 3.5 hours if you have to deal with your white guilt. But if you can just sit back and enjoy some cinema, it's great. It's amazing. And I think a lot of people will get eyes on it once you can stream it somewhere. Also, I think The Irishman left a bad taste in people's mouth, to be frank. I think people were excited for that. And
this movie is good.
It did not deliver. The Irishman did not deliver in any way, shape, or form. There were some critics who liked it, but generally speaking, the audiences felt like, what did we do that for? Why was this movie that long when that could have been an hour-and-a-half movie? Maybe it could have been much better as an hour-and-a-half movie, but this one, they kind of nailed it tonally and with the length. I think they've kind of got there, but people don't know that yet because they haven't seen it, but it's great.
Scorsese's last movies have been The Irishman. Last feature films have been The Irishman and Silence.
Never heard of it.
Silence
he had a box office smash with Wolf of Wall Street and followed it up with the study of one's religion and mortality. And people were like, what?
I feel like every 7th or 8th movie he makes a movie like a deeply religious movie. But it's a tough hang, tough watch, especially coming off of Wolf of Wall Street, which was, that thing was going gangbusters. Everybody was into that.
Is Martin Scorsese in that era where he's just like an old guy hanging around reading books and he's like, you know what? They got something here. Like, I feel like all of his last movies.
Well, maybe.
I read a book one time.
I think he's finding projects that he can help explain, one, the latter portions of his life and what he's dealing with internally. And not to get super philosophical about it, but like how he's dealt with in all of his other movies too, is like his Catholic guilt.
Yeah.
And he's really like interested in exploring original sins, this movie, and really kind of like prodding at what is good and evil, and it just, I think those are the stories that he's choosing to tell. I don't know, Tease, you have, like, you've seen more Scorsese movies, but from what I've heard and read is that it's just really him picking things that he can form into his own image around
I
his
think
white guilt, honestly.
I think he's also exploring it at the center of most of these films, or all of these films. There's always some kind of very weird relationship between a man and a woman. I think these are themes that, like, there are some themes in this movie that he's also like literally doing in Taxi Driver. Like you could see that he's working through certain things. I think his own Catholic guilt is a big part of it. Obviously, sin in general is a part of it, but I really think he's really trying to get to, as opposed to putting, obviously he has a lot of criminals in his film. A lot of his films are about criminal organizations. This is no different. It's not about the mob, but it's definitely about a criminal organization with the mob boss and all and all the fixins. I think he's really interested in kind of like what fuels these criminal organizations, but also what eventually brings them down. And I think he's always been really interested in the fall of people who go use crime to get to a certain point in life or a certain period in life, and what, like, how does it all fall apart? How do the House of Cards fall apart? And this movie is no different. I think one of the weirdest things about this movie is it's got that sentimentality. Obviously, you have to be very careful in the tone you use in a movie that's literally about these people that are desecrating Native Americans and treating Native Americans in awful, awful ways. And so he's got to kind of, it's like you put on Goodfellas. It's a romp. It's fun. Obviously, there are people dying. There are people committing crimes, but you're having a good time. You're not really thinking about, like, damn, that person has a family. Damn, that person, like, maybe they didn't deserve to die. You're just laughing with the jokes and having a good time. Obviously, that's not the tone of this film, because you can't make a film in that tone, especially in the times that we live in. So he's got to look at the criminal organization and have some funny moments, but also have be lighthearted about the way that we present the people who are the victims of these crimes. And I think he really managed to get that balance, and it kind of shows it. I could not stop thinking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it shows, like, I could still make a Scorsese movie, but it doesn't have to be like a Scorsese movie in the past. This is not Casino. This is not Goodfellas, but it has a lot of the same aspects. He loves dumb criminals. These people are fucking idiots. Like, Leo's character he's functionally like being controlled. He's an absolute idiot. And every decision he makes is awful, and in the way that he justifies these decisions is even worse. But by the same token, it is weird that this is a movie from the perspective of the white people in the movie, but not if you realize that Scorsese, that's what he does. He wants to put you in the middle of a criminal organization, see what the ins and outs of it, see who leads things, see how it ticks, and see how it falls apart. He's interested in examining those things, and this movie's no different. It's just a very different kind of crime and a very different kind of tone. But it's clear that these are the things that he cares about putting on screen, even to this day. He's been putting dumb criminals on screen for 50 years, and he can't get enough of it.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a conversation here with a couple of things. One being, like, in some of his movies, I don't know, like Jordan Belfort's like not a redeemable character. He's a piece of shit, but like there's some like humanity to some of these really truly awful people but like these are like, this is the first time in a long time that these people are just like, there's no redeemable characteristics about, especially De Niro. And uh and that's something that I think is interesting for him. But also there's a complaint, I guess, of this movie, that the movie doesn't center, and we can talk about this in reviews and further on down the line, but doesn't center around the native peoples and their quest to hunt these people down, or like save themselves rather, but that it centers around the evil perpetrated on them by these white people. Um, the response to that is that, like, Martin Scorsese is a white man, and he wanted to make that movie about evil deeds done by white people. And it's what he continues to do and what he's done his entire career. and by doing that, I somebody smarter than me is like put this into better words, but by doing that, he's really immersing you in making you think about what happened, what these people were doing, instead of making it like a who done it, you know. You're really just following along in the passenger seat with this scum, and you have to, and it's an uncomfortable position to be in, but he's really good at it. So, you know, it's an interesting debate to have. I think even the Osage language consultant had some where you can find it online
Yeah,
about
I saw that.
about like what he thought about this movie. But yeah, I don't know. Dex, we've gone on for 20 minutes now, but do you want to give your thoughts? TG, you gave your thoughts a little bit, but I'll let you expand in a minute. But Dex, what did you think? You may be lower on it than I don't want to step on your toes, but you may be lower on it than I think TG and I are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely high on it. I think it's easily one of the best films of the year. I'm just at like an A instead of an A plus.
Right.
The everything y'all mentioned about like the kind of the subtext of the movie, right? Like putting you in that like passenger seat and making you be like, damn, these white people really do fucking suck. Like this is crazy. I can't believe we did people like this and continue to do people like this and all this other stuff that this movie kind of makes you think about. I think that's all fantastic. The performances are fantastic. Leonardo DiCaprio's getting a nomination. De Niro's probably getting a nomination. I assume. I'd have to look at the rest of the
Have you ever
supporting
considered
actor
that maybe
film, but
Robert De Niro is like an evil person? Like maybe he's actually an evil person, like in real
might
life.
be, dog.
He's so good at that. It's ridiculous how disgusting he is in this film.
The
It's
only
thing-
ridiculous.
The only thing they didn't have him do in this was smoking a cigarette and looking directly into camera. Like, they just,
Fucking
like,
twirling
that's
a
all-
mustache.
yeah, that's all they needed him to do was just look and smirk at the camera, and you'd be like, "Yeah, I got it."
Yeah, like just one of the most despicable people you'll ever see.
To answer your question, he'll 100,000% be nominated.
Yeah, I mean, I assume
As
so.
he should.
And Lily Gladstone is also phenomenal.
Oh my god.
I really enjoyed and was kind of surprised by how they make this like a love story throughout. Because they take away the whodunit aspect of the book that is there. I haven't read the book, but that's kind of what I assumed Killers of the Flower Moon would be, is a whodunit. I mean, the trailer shows you Jesse Plemons walking up, like trying to figure out who's done these murders. But
Who's doing them?
yeah, who's doing them?
Find
But
out who's doing
I didn't expect the love story for Leonardo DiCaprio's character and Lily Gladstone's character to be so investing. You watch them kind of meet each other and you're like, obviously this guy is a scumbag, and Lily Gladstone also knows this guy is obviously a scumbag who only wants her for her money. But they kind of, over this 3.5 hour journey, they take you into them actually falling in love with each other, despite you knowing and her knowing that he's a scumbag who's in it for the money. Like, and he's doing all the shit that he's doing on the side.
It's a very interesting point, and I want to interrupt you for a second. That some people have said, "Oh, well, this is like a critique of the movie." Is that like, oh, them showing as much of the love story as it did, that makes you think that he's like they're trying to make him a redeemable character. The inverse of that is that, oh, he did all of this, absolutely did love his wife, but was still willing to kill her. So he's like still like the biggest piece of shit on the planet, and that's what he was trying to do. I don't know where y'all stand. I just think it's a very interesting debate on, does this humanize Leo's character based on actions, or does it humanize him because Leo is Leo? You know what I mean?
I guess it depends on what you mean by humanizing. Like, it doesn't make me think that he's a better person. Like, like it makes him a little more complex and interesting to talk about, but it doesn't make him like good, that he loved his wife. And I think that kind of, honestly, it sounds stupid to say like, "Oh, he loved his wife. That must mean you want me to think that he's a good person." Like, no, that's not what that means. Plenty of bad people love their wives. Like, so uh, you can see all the other shit that he's doing. Clearly this is a bad person who we are not trying to empathize with. Like, we're just showing you that this is a complex and interesting story. It's 3.5 hours long. It better be. Like, there better be some layers here.
Right.
Can't be 3.5 hours of all Leo is bad, only does bad things, and nothing else happens. Like, like there's got to be other
And
shit.
then we died.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like the love story, and I liked how, Lily Gladstone's performance. You can kind of see the skepticism kind of go away, and then it comes back, and then it goes away for a little while, and then it comes back again. And I thought that was really interesting to watch. Something I didn't really expect from the movie. I also, I don't know if y'all have ever seen the Hatfields and McCoy's miniseries from the History Channel.
Hell yeah,
years
brother.
ago.
Real cinema.
This shit has like a lot of those vibes for me, where it's like all these like country idiot criminals, and like that's my shit. Like, I'm with that, So, them like just making it still a organized crime flick in the the middle of Oklahoma in the 20s. It's like, yeah, that's my kind of carrying on. I'm here for this. There's shit I can still recognize and fucking grasp. I'm watching Robert De Niro be a mob boss. Like, that rules. It doesn't matter what the setting is. So I really liked all that stuff about it. The reason I'm lower on it is because, like, without the white guilt, I feel like it could be a little shallow. Like, if you already know that white people are bad coming into this movie, you're not going to learn very much. Like, no disrespect. Like, if you're like, yeah, white people, like they be wilding, like, you'll watch this movie and be like, yeah, white people was wilding. So I didn't feel, maybe y'all will like say something that you saw in this movie that like will make me kind of reconsider. But when I watched it, I didn't come away being like, oh yeah, Martin Scorsese with like this really insightful commentary on much of anything. It was like, this is all stuff that I know. Like, I had the same comment about Taxi Driver, and we gave it the excuse of like, oh, this was made in the 70s. Like, this was more radical thought for the time. But now it's like, this is a 2023 movie. 2023. We did the racism is bad stuff. Like, we know, So that's that knocked it down from an A+ to an A to me, but it's still a fantastic film and everyone should go see it.
I will say this is that not enough movies have been made about the absolute evisceration of the Indian people or of the First Nation peoples. We just have avoided that as a society.
Fair enough.
That's just my one take, if you will. It's just like, and there also has not been enough First Nation peoples making being allowed to make movies as well too. So that needs to change also. But yeah, I get what you're saying about like I guarantee you that there were some old white people walking in like reevaluating their John Wayne takes. You know what I mean?
Are we the bad guy?
Wait, is this fucking play about us? Anyway, Tej, what's your review?
I've seen this film twice. The first
That's unbelievable. I can't believe you committed that amount of time.
In fact, the second time I went, I had to pee basically from the beginning of the movie. And for that first like hour and a half, I literally couldn't find the time to get away. It's just it's such a compelling way to tell a story. First of all,
I didn't pee. New record.
The first time I did not pee. The first time I peed right before I went in, I was like, I'm not peeing. The second time I was like, oh, I got to pee. And it was really hard to find a couple of minutes to steal away from the film. The first thing to say about this film is the score of this film it's perfect. It's literally perfect. We talked about on our Taxi Driver episodes that Scorsese often does this thing where he has different parts of the score that play when certain things are happening. The fucking crime part of this score, where the white people are doing crime, some of the greatest shit I've ever heard in a movie. The performances are phenomenal. the way that this story opens up, the way that you're meeting these people, the way that our first meeting with Leo and with Leo's character, with De Niro's character, it's just like it's like Scorsese's got so much style. He put so much work into it. You can really feel it. I want to give a lot of deference to, and I want to say how, like, I want to respect the people saying that this is not a story about the Native Americans that are depicted in this film. I totally agree with that take, and I totally understand how that could be off-putting to someone. But as someone who's been watching Scorsese movies for my entire life, basically, this is a Scorsese movie. What he's interested in is the original sin. Yes, this is in many ways, this is a straightforward Scorsese film. He's taking you inside of a crime organization. They happen to be white people because he's white. He wants to get to the original sin. And he's like, why not make a movie about literally the original sin? This is not the whole experience of how, how white people took over the continent from the people that were already living here. It's one little town with a couple people that you can focus on that show the wider sin, which I think is what makes it so effective. Also, the laying ground for this, if you pick up a book about Native Americans, 99% of them are not going to have the fact that these people happen to be the richest people per capita in the country at the time. Not only are these Native Americans, they're sitting on a literal gold mine. So these are Native Americans who are extremely wealthy. They have white servants. There are white people in this town that literally don't have jobs. They're just there to scam money away from Indians, or even worse, steal money from Native Americans. Like there are bums in this town that are literally there because of how rich the Native American population is. That's just a setting in a movie that I've never seen before, and probably will never see again unless it's about the same group of people. Because that's just I before picking up that book, I had no idea about this story. It already,
or you have to go back way further,
or way further. Yes.
Yeah.
It is crazy because it creates a perfect breeding ground for a Scorsese movie. These dumb white people come from bumfuck nowhere. They realize that there's a way that they can start hustling. They start hustling and they start killing and they start conspiring together. And the way that it all plays out is so I think it's very interesting that Dex called this a love story, which is not. I'm not saying that Dex is wrong or anyone is wrong. Just calling it a love story. I don't view it as a love story at all. But there are moments, especially in the beginning of the meet cute, where even though you see early on that Leo is a bad guy, because you cut away for a second, he's literally robbing Native American people at gunpoint, not anybody that's quote unquote related to his wife or eventual wife. But you see that he's a bad guy from jump. You know that De Niro is a bad guy the second he even starts talking. He's the most racist character you've ever seen. The way he's talking about Indians, like he's talking about Native Americans like they're animals. So like, and he's also speaking their language and claiming to be a friend of them. He's just a complete scumbag. So Leo, as his nephew, is also a complete scumbag, and you see that early. But there are moments where there's charming chemistry between Lily Gladstone and Leo. There's a moment where they're in bed and she's like wants to have sex. And he's like, "Oh, you trying to wake the kids up? You trying to wake the kids up?" there are funny moments in this film of like, even though it's like a lot of levity and a lot of stakes, there are funny moments. But the tone shifts of the movie are what make it a masterpiece to me. You have a funny scene where Leo and De Niro are talking. They're making wisecracks. They're making jokes. De Niro's coming at him about, did he catch any STDs over there? Asking him, does he like girls? That stuff plays for funny.
Well, I like women.
Leo's like, I like that money. I like the girl. I like all the girls. I like the big ones. I like the small ones. I like the green ones. I like the purple ones.
Red, blue, yellow,
This stuff is played for funny. You hard cut. You hear Lily Gladstone's voice on a voiceover, and they're showing literal homicides of Native American people that were unsolved. And every time she says a name, she says no investigation. You cut from a funny scene to like extremely, extremely triggering scenes where somebody is killed in front of their baby and the baby's taken away, and they call it a suicide. Like these scenes are right next to each other, and kind of the way that they're cutting this film, we can be in jokes. Whenever there are white people on screen, just white people, it's funny. The way they talk to the criminals, the guy that's like, you're being real pushy, Ernest. Like, you're being real pushy. Like, everything that guy said was funny. Like the white people are super funny. They're very stupid. They're not to be taken seriously at all. And then the Native Americans come on screen, and they are the heart of the film. The guy who, I don't even know his name, but the guy who plays the head, like chief of their they have like a congressional hearing of the people in the tribe that are basically saying we got to get the white people out of town.
They do these white men are dangerous.
Yes. And he's in the trailer and he says, when this money start coming, like he's that guy from the trailer. When he is in there spitting those bars and going crazy,
name of all time.
That is, he's going off for like 5 minutes about the issues with the town and the fact that white people have basically like sewn themselves into the fabric of the town, but they're wolves. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. That 5 minutes of that guy talking was the most compelling thing I've ever seen. I don't know who that guy is. He's crushing it.
Yeah,
what's his name?
Yancey Redcorn.
Yancey Redcorn is him.
Hell yeah.
He stole the movie for 5 minutes. He comes back later. He has some good bars, but he stole the movie in the middle of this movie for 5 minutes. There's a scene where Leo is reading a book in his Choctaw accent. I don't even know what the hell kind of accent he's doing. He's reading a book about the Osage Nation. He's reading a book about them because he just got there. He doesn't know anything about them. And that's where that, in the trailer, he goes, there's so much stuff from the trailer that hits real hard in the movie that you don't know the context in the trailer. But when he's reading the book,
find the wolves.
Yeah, can you find the wolves in this picture? I was like, that's so. He's literally reading a children's book, but the way that you use it in that trailer and the way you use it in the film is just great. Scorsese's got so much style. There are scenes where there are people. There's a scene where there's a guy who's unfortunately about to meet his demise, but he doesn't know it yet. And that you see people in the fields covered in oil, just standing there. It's the creepiest thing I've ever seen. It's like a metaphor. They're not even really there. Scorsese is just, he's fucking Michael Jordan with the ball in his hand, and you put a center on him or something. Like, he's too good of an artist to be able to be handed something that's this good by itself. The book is very different, but the actual story itself is too good to miss. This movie's 3.5 hours. I did not feel it was 3.5 hours long. I loved every fucking minute of this film. With all due respect to anyone who was offended by the way that this film was made, this is a perfect Scorsese movie. It is perfect. It is a fucking masterpiece. This is an A+ film. I am floored by it, and it might be the best movie of the year. I loved Oppenheimer. I also gave that an A+. I don't know which one's better, but I know damn well you are not going to see a movie that's better than this all year and maybe for the next 5 years. Congratulations to Scorsese and everybody involved. It is a great achievement. I'm honored that I was able to watch it. I gave it an A+.
You're right. They were right for holding it.
For sure.
This is nothing short of a modern masterpiece. Tej, I'm right with you. I think this is unbelievable. I thought this movie, I was floored. It is 3.5 hours long, and if you listen to this podcast for the one episode, you'll know that I'm out. But like,
3.5 hours always feels like 3.5 hours for your boy.
Yeah. I knew it was long, and I knew in the moment that it was long, but
that's what she said.
Well, hey, look, congratulations, but
congratulations.
But like, I still was riveted the entire time, which is to me like nothing short of a modern miracle. Like, it is like unreal how well he keeps your attention through this. And he continues at 80 years old, continues to get performances out of his actors that I didn't even know were there. I think this is one of the more complicated parts that Leo's ever had to play. I don't think it's Leo's best role, but I genuinely think that it's one of the more complicated parts that he's had to play in a long time. Why he's doing that with his teeth, I have no idea. But like, why did you do that? You didn't have to do that. That's fine. De Niro, the best he's been. I mean, people like Irishman or whatever. He's in that movie 98% of the time. I think this is the best De Niro has been or tried in a long time. Considering he's like making shitball comedies for money or whatever. He's the devil. Like, he literally at one point, like, there's fields on fire and his house is like surrounded in flames and he's just looking out over the middle distance. And I'm like, oh, that's Satan. And congratulations on playing many of the same characters in Scorsese films, but you nailed it, buddy. Like you're just really good at it. And the star of the film is Lily Gladstone.
Facts. She steals it.
She has an impossible role. One, you have to go toe to toe with the greatest actor of his generation, Leonardo DiCaprio, and the most charismatic and famous and whatever adjective you want to describe Leonardo DiCaprio. He
and
is
the
that.
greatest actor of the generation before
him, right?
That's crazy. When
Good
I
luck.
think about it like that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, I know you're like in your 30s or whatever, and have been in not a lot of awesome projects.
Not just some scenes with Leo.
You're going to be
third.
Like
90% of her scenes are with Leo. It's not even like I get some time to cook when Leo's on the bench. Like pretty much whenever she's on screen, Leo's on screen like 90% of the time.
Yeah, and
you ever seen The Godfather? That's the new Godfather.
That's unbelievable. You remember Titanic when you were 10? That's that guy. Anyway, she does the thing that not a lot of actresses have the courage to do, like not even since like Kate Winslet maybe, but like not a lot of actresses, or Margot Robbie, I'm going to give her credit, but have the courage to do, which is to like make fun of Leonardo DiCaprio on screen. And I guess Scorsese gives her permission to do this, but she has this like through the first part of the movie, she has this like wry, knowing, shit-eating grin on her face about everything that Leonardo DiCaprio is doing, and it's fantastic. It's the best way that I've seen like a co-lead, especially a female co-lead, like go against Leo, because normally he's like eating up the entire scene when it's not Robbie or Winslet, it feels like, and she had the potential to be completely overwhelmed or consumed by this entire thing, and she just pushes forward. Half the time she's like sick in a bed, which is part of the reason I will say that you had to tell the story this way, because she's literally being incapacitated for half the movie.
Yeah.
So you could do it the FBI route, or you could take the more creative choice, which is what Scorsese did. And while she, the main character basically of the story, is literally dying or being killed slowly, you show what's going on ancillary to all of that and in her surroundings. And I think it's a really good choice. I think it's a very complicated, funny, moving, difficult movie.
It's crazy how funny this movie is.
It's really weird.
It's really funny.
It's really weird. Like Leo says like fuck a duck one time in this, which is awesome, you know.
It just becomes Logan Lucky at one point, and they're like, we got side characters who blow shit up for us.
Yes. Explosives guy, we got an explosive guy now. Like,
when they're like, it shouldn't be funny, but then when like, who commits suicide by shooting themselves in the back of the head, you know, and it's just like, told him to shoot him in the front of the head right here, like you said. And it's just, it really is just idiots stumbling over themselves. And just the way that it's shot by Rodrigo Prieto, who is unbelievable. And
great shots. The last shot of this movie was mind-blowingly good.
Yeah.
It is mind-blowing how good the last shot of this film is.
And the score by Robbie Robertson, who just recently passed away in
Rest
August.
In peace, Robbie. You crushed
he was a member, by the way, of the band. I don't know if you know who the band is, but
not Diddy's band. Do you mean
the band?
Okay, got it.
Yeah, not the band.
Not the band. Got it.
Yeah. Anyway, he was a member of the band, and then they broke up, and he's like, I'm just going to do movies now. And he's done movies for Scorsese, I think, like ever since. But he's, you know, he was a legend, and he just recently passed away. So he may be posthumously nominated for this, and I probably think he should for the score. I don't have anything really more to say about it other than like, it is impossible that a 80-year-old man approaching what he has said is one of, he's winding down the clock, and he still has the fire and innovation to make a 3.5-hour period piece murder drama while he's still innovating camera movements and changing and rewriting the script and getting new performances out of actors he's worked with now 10 times. And it just is unbelievable. And I don't know who would be able to do this or to get me to sit still for 3.5 hours and watch a story where I know the ending. Like, I read one Wikipedia article, I got it, and it's just, yeah. My final thought is, it was so super easy to get away with murder.
Yeah, they made it real fucking easy. Holy shit.
They take that poor woman, Anna, who was also awesome in this, by the way. She was like giving people shit the entire time. She was awesome. But
was
like
cooking people.
They just get her drunk and take her out in the field and like hold her up, and he shoots her in the back, and then they're like, ugh, and like walk off. Like, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And you can just get away with it. Anyway, I thought this movie was brilliant. I'll definitely rewatch it. I can't say that a lot for other 3.5-hour movies. Not named Lord of the Rings.
I also will probably rewatch it when it comes to
A+,
Apple TV Plus. It's an Apple movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll probably rewatch it when it hits Apple TV Plus, which I wouldn't have thought for a 3.5-hour movie. But yeah, your comment about it being super easy to kill people back in the day and get away with it, like, it made me think of that Donald Glover stand-up line where he's like, someone gets murdered and they're like, "Oh, there's nothing we can do. It was nighttime." It was dark outside. Like,
there's a John Mulaney bit where it was like, the killer left his fingerprints, and there's a pool of blood after the assailant was stabbed with a knife in the doorway, and the guy's like, "Yuck, clean that up."
That's gross, icky.
Yeah, ew.
But I think it really underscores how easy it was to kill people at this time, because first of all, you have to remember that the FBI was not a thing, so they had no concept of a federal, like, they were like, this is Indian land, like, if we're getting away with it, it's because we're allowed to, because Hale is basically the police. So he's like, wait, somebody's going to come and go above me, and that makes no sense in my brain. But when the FBI finally gets there, which is in the third act of the movie, the FBI finally gets there, the way they both first interact with the FBI agent is clear. They're clearly like, yeah, I did this. Like, Leo, he's there to see your dying wife, who actually is the one who got him to come to this place in the first place, and you were acting as if you were a suspect before you even realized why he's there. Leo was so nervous.
He's not here.
She's real sick.
He was acting so guilty, and then he goes to find Hale. Hale's getting a shave like the mob boss that he is. He's getting shaved at the time the FBI is asking him questions, and as opposed to saying literally anything, he literally is like, "Well, let me tell you what I think. The one girl had it coming. She's mouthy as shit. Like, he just starts going crazy.
Nobody liked her anyway.
She had no friends.
Like, the other guy was suicidal, or what was the word that they?
He's been melancholy his whole. You know that, right? Yeah. He's melancholy, and it's like, bro, you're already explaining away these things. We don't even know if these people. Like, we don't even know what you have to do with this, but we know you have something to do with it because you're immediately explaining away why they basically deserve to die. And it was like, yeah, they don't even care about getting caught. They literally were like, this is par for the course. We kill Indians and nobody cares. So why are you asking me these questions? Basically, it was nasty.
Also, like, just the fucking villainy to like blow someone's house up and then like help them pick through the rubble is crazy. Like, this all-time scumbaggery in this movie.
Use too much dynamite is a crazy fucking line.
Too much dynamite.
Yeah.
Then the old guy's like, I think you pronouncing yourself a bit too much when you sees De Niro pull up.
Same guy that's the banker that's in the KKK
that stuff, I was like, oh shit, like the KKK stuff, and when they mentioned the what's it called, Tulsa, the Tulsa race, right, or
Yeah, they do a
Tulsa
whole.
massacre. I was like, damn, look at my boy Scorsese in them trenches, like fucking knowing ball. Look at him.
Yeah,
They
I'm
didn't teach
telling
him
you,
about that in school.
him especially. No, no. I genuinely. It just feels. This movie feels important to me.
Yeah.
It just feel like, and not very many movies feel that important. Like Oppenheimer kind of felt important a little bit.
I definitely agree with both
I
of those.
can we can comparing it to Oppenheimer. TG said you don't know which one is better. I have Oppenheimer higher personally. Oppenheimer's an A+ for me, 10 out of 10, like perfect movie, because there were moments in Oppenheimer where I like literally felt shaken to my core. Like the auditorium scene in that movie where everyone's like stomping and clapping and Oppenheimer's like, what the fuck? What the fuck
That
just
was
happened?
real
Well,
fucking cinema.
I like that grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me. Like, and that didn't have quite that moment in Killers of the Flower Moon. It's more of like a gradual, like kind of build, and you get to the end of it, and you're like, "Fuck, that was a lot." But
Yeah.
Oppenheimer had those moments where it's like, "Fuck." Like,
Well, yeah, this movie's quite literally a train rolling down the tracks, but there was those moments for me, and it's way more sound pretentious, subtle than Oppenheimer, where it's like Lily Gladstone's character, Molly, is it Molly? Is
Molly, yes.
yeah, is dying, but they're having a kid anyway, and there's a moment where they're at the ceremony to like do the Indian ceremony for their child, like christen the kid basically, and she's looking around and she's only seeing white faces,
Oh, that was so.
and
That
it's
scene is
silent.
so
It goes
good.
silent, and she's
Yeah.
only looking at white people like smiling back at her. That, I mean, it's a moment like that. There's also, like, I thought was really beautiful, like the owl and the death scene of the mother and the grandmother, if you will,
Mhm.
and her going into the afterlife was
That was amazing. That the way
incredible.
that they showed her going to the afterlife was so dope. I was like, "This is amazing, bro! This is incredible work. Only certain people can capture this on screen. It's not everybody that can capture something like that on screen." And Scorsese is able to do that, and it was beautiful.
And yeah, and I just think a few of those moments, it's just way more played. Like, it just, I don't know, it's way more subtle to me with some of those stuff, some of those things. Or when Leo, it's in the trailer, but when Leo walks into the masonry hall or whatever, the Masons Hall, and like everyone in the town is like looking at him, and everyone's staring into camera. I was just like, ooh.
I also love the scene where she's going to the train because she's going to Washington, D.C., and another scene where you see all these white men, but this time they're all kind of menacing at her. Like, not because she's her, but because everybody else is white. So, like, she stands out. And, like, the way they film it from first person perspective, so you don't see Lily, you're just walking with her as she sees all these white faces. Just great, great stuff. I want to talk a little bit about the quote unquote love story. I think the way that Scorsese is presenting the movie, I don't think Scorsese thinks that Leo's character loves this woman. And I don't think that the audience is supposed to think that either. I think it's presented the way it is because we have to underline the fact that despite the fact that he was a monster, like Molly loved him. And I think that Scorsese really believes that Molly loved this man, or else why would this man have ever gotten anywhere near close to her? And so I think that we have those sort of quote unquote tight moments because we have to show why Molly loves him. She can't love a monster if all we see is him being a monster. And so I know some people took it as they were trying to make it seem like Leo loved his wife or like whatever. They were trying to make it seem like Ernest's character loves his wife. I never felt that way. But Monique did. We watched it together. Monique definitely thought that Ernest loved his wife until the moment where he has a chance to finally cop to the medicine thing, and he does it. And then she was like, "Okay, never mind." But I was like, he's killing her whole family. He's killing everybody she loves. Like, that's not love. Like, I don't think that you can love someone and kill their whole family, especially like she's asking him questions about these deaths. and he's just like, oh no, I don't know if he died. Like, I don't know. I don't think you can love someone and act in that way. But I think the way it's presented in the first hour and a half of the film is we're supposed to show that Molly really loves this person, which shows how big the sin is that he would operate like that and literally kill members of her family or have members of her family killed and try to kill her. We have to see why she would love a person that's capable of that. And I think that's what he was trying to do. On my first viewing, I probably would have been at like an A as opposed to A plus because I had weird remaining questions. I felt weird about the Molly Ernest relationship. I felt weird. I was like, is Scorsese trying to show us that he loved this woman despite the fact that he's quite literally doing the worst possible things to her? But on my second viewing, I really saw it for what I think it is, which is we're seeing why Molly loves him, but we're not seeing that he ever loved her. He was always there to take from her and do what he did, and he did it. And I don't think there was ever any love there from one perspective, but she definitely loved him. And I think that's what he's trying to show.
There's a couple things here is for me is, can you be a sociopath and a moron
and be in love with someone?
Well,
can you do those?
Like, it's either he's a sociopath or he's just a moron seeking riches.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
He does love that money.
It does love that money, sir. I do love that money. I do love that money. Anyway, but also there's a moment in the movie where he takes the medicine that he's been giving her, or the what's been killing her.
Insulin. Yeah, she has diabetes.
Well, no, it's not the insulin. It's the stuff he's putting in the insulin.
The poison. Got it.
The poison. And it's almost like the computer turning on, or like for the ape becoming sentient, basically, is just like he sort of is like, oh shit, what have I been doing? And so I think that's a really confusing moment for people.
Yeah.
Is where he's like, I kind of
hits him.
Yeah, I've been killing this poor woman like way worse than I thought.
But if you remember, they told him to give her the whole vial like in one dose, and he doesn't do that. He piecemeals it. So that's why later De Niro comes up and asks him, like, did you give her the whole thing? And like, he keeps asking these questions because he can tell, like, because she's not dead yet. So like, why is she not dead yet? She's already sick, and now we told you to give her X amount of poison, and she's still like strong as shit. Like, she's not, like, she's bedridden, but she's still alive. And so like, he was obvious. He was not trying to kill her, and he didn't go on the advice of the Schoen brothers who told him to give her the whole thing at once. But by the same token, you're still, I mean, he knew what he was doing. He was giving her poison, and I kind of like that kind of moral middle ground of, we know that he's a bad person and we know what he's trying to do, but he's doing it not specifically how he was told to do it. He's doing it in a slower way. I thought that created enough moral gray area to where we can keep the movie going, and I thought it was a perfect movie choice. I thought it made sense for this film, because we got that whole middle part is basically her in bed, and so we got to extend that out a little bit, and I thought that was a good way to extend that out a little bit.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, like I don't doubt that, like, you know, part of him loves her at least a little bit, you know, like whether it's you know, out of just convenience and happening to be around her all the time or whatever, like you love her eventually, right? But I don't think that's enough to like make him a good person. Like, if you like assume that he loves his wife, you know, you can love your wife and also be a piece of shit. And I think that's what he is. It just makes him a little more complex and a little more interesting to talk about, but I don't think it like absolves him of these murders he's doing, obviously. And I don't think that including love in the movie takes away from the horror of what he did. I think it adds to it. Because, like, how could you do this to someone you love unless you're just an evil fucking scumbag and racism is really that big of a monster, you know? So.
Movie ends basically with him, you know, reneging on basically saying that he was not going to testify, and then then I am going to testify, and them having this out with it, and then Brendan Fraser yelling, and John Lithgow coming in for 5 minutes and doing his John Lithgow thing.
Brendan Fraser was literally screaming. The way you open on him is so shocking because he stands up.
I object!
Bro, I tweeted this when I saw the movie. I hated the whale more than I realized because that was genuinely
first thought was the
traumatizing
whale.
for me. Genuinely traumatizing. I was like, why is the whale here? Stop yelling at me. Get off of my screen. I came here to watch a serious movie about serious people. All right.
It's incredible. What an incredible casting by Scorsese.
When Sturgill, I think it's Sturgill Simpson, walks in and he sees that Leo has already snitched, so they're asking him questions, and he's like, I don't know anything about that. Then Leo comes in and he goes, so this is all on my neck?
Oh,
Get
yeah.
your pencils ready.
Yeah.
Oh, he snitched a little bit. We snitching today.
No, that guy.
You ain't
I think
seen shit yet.
I think it's the big tall cowboy that killed the guy in the back of the head after getting him
Yep.
drunk. That guy is just like a dude that lives down in like the valley in Texas and is like
Wait, that's not he's not an actor?
Kind of like he's kind of an actor. There's several of those dudes in here that are like kind of actors, kind of not, have maybe been in like 2 projects, but he's just like an old dude that lives down in the I think the valley of Texas.
He was great. He was hilarious. Everything he said was funny. Every time he had a line, it was funny every time.
Well, I gotta go do that right now. Yes, right now.
Well, my wife's sick. He's like, Leo's like, my wife's sick too. You gotta do this right now. He's like, all right, I'm gonna do it. All right.
Sturgill Simpson was the rodeo.
He's the rodeo guy, the handsome one.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the rodeo guy.
He's the one that's like, you know who that is. You know who you need AC Kirby. That's
Yeah.
about right. That motherfucker right there probably knows where he is right there. That's that motherfucker right there.
My favorite thing in the movie was he was like, he just says like, sir, you understand that asking me if you can take an insurance policy out on your kids and then if they died, do you get the money? Makes me think that you're going to murder your kids. And he's like,
no, I'm not going to do that.
Not if I don't get the money. Yeah.
What's
Like,
that guy's name? What's the guy's name who plays that character?
I can find it. But the whole like FBI bit of this is really good. It's very secondary to the rest of the movie at this point, but it like them inserting themselves into you don't even kind of realize it until they have that sort of meet where they're like
they have a powwow.
Yeah,
Old West style.
Inserting themselves into the community is incredible.
Yeah.
That guy's name that plays that guy, Kelsey Morrison, is Lewis Cancel Me.
Cancel Me is a very unfortunate name in these times. Yeah. Very.
CANCELMI.
Wow. He was great. I also really loved, speaking of the FBI stuff, the scene where the FBI agent, our favorite son, is standing above Leo and he's doing the interrogation. He's like walking around him in a circle and Leo's looking up. I just thought the way they shot that was so perfect because again, you don't see usually Leo is that guy who's I'm the one tall guy. I'm taller than you and walking around you and you're the one sitting down and I'm getting the moment. And he really got to have that moment where Leo is just doing a lot of face acting. He's just staring at him. He's just like being kind of cordial with him, like being a friendly Texan with him. But also you can tell like this guy is very serious about this. He's about to lock you up for the rest of your life if he can.
Man, I need to sit down. Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I love the scenes where they start kind of tying up some loose ends. Hale does and he's like, "Oh, you can go rob this store. There's some marks over there." And that's the store owner, and he's like,
"There's some fly shit over there. Go on over there.
They're gonna rob your store, bro. I hope you're ready, dog."
They're coming at 11 p.m. Be ready, bro. They're coming.
I heard they try to rob your store, dog. I don't know though. That's just what the street's saying.
Unbelievable. Underrated, probably my favorite part, where he's just setting all of these guys up. And he's like, that's like some Godfather bank. Shit, honestly.
It's easy as shit, dog. Go rob the bank. They'll never see it coming, dude. Hey, I heard they're trying to rob a bank at this date and time.
When he goes to Leo and things are falling apart, and so he goes to Leo out of nowhere. He just goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know, if they come arrest you, you're gonna be fine, and everything's gonna be fine." And he's like, Wait, who's gonna come get me? And he's like, if anything happens to you, You're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. He's like, wait, what's gonna happen to me? He's like, oh, nothing's gonna happen to you, but I need you to sign over these head rights. They gotta stay in the family.
he almost has a moment of clarity where he's like, wait, but he's too stupid to like follow
He's too
through.
stupid to
I will just say, I need Leo DiCaprio's jackets in this movie.
He got some fits off. He really got some. Some of those sweaters were real swaggy.
Yeah, those print sweaters that he had on, looking like the best Patagonia that you've ever seen in your life.
Fire.
Dude, need him. Need everything that he has on. Especially when he's like getting arrested and he's sitting there with his and he's drunk or whatever, and he's like, I gotta go home or whatever.
Gotta get home.
I need that outfit. Need that outfit. Yeah. I don't have much else. You just have to watch this movie to really grasp I think the scope of what happened.
Can we talk about the end?
Oh yeah, I mean, sure.
I first of all didn't see that coming. Second of all, I fucking loved it. That was dope. That was a really cool way to wrap that up.
Oh,
incredible way to wrap that up.
The Scorsese.
The Avengers showed up. Yeah. Iron Man flew down into the plains of Oklahoma.
So the movie wraps up, and if you're this far into it and you don't want spoilers, I don't know what to tell you. If you're this far into a Killers of the Flower Moon podcast, whatever, he wraps it up with a thing that happened apparently in real life where they would do radio plays about true crime, which is like the first,
basically a true crime podcast before podcast.
Yeah, the further we go away from our past, the more we're doomed to repeat it. But like,
yeah.
Not Truman, but Hoover.
Scorsese?
No, like J. Edgar Hoover used to do this where he would apparently list these crimes out and the exploits of the FBI. So this was a real thing, and they did a radio play of it. Scorsese recreates that with I think was that
Foley
Jack?
people.
Yeah, with Foley people.
Jack White, dude.
Jack White from the White Stripes.
Yeah. That's Jack White
doing like a perfect Leonardo DiCaprio impression. They all sounded like these guys. Really? Like I don't know how they did that.
When I first saw it, I thought that they had done the voices of the actual characters did that, but the second time I thought no, they actually these actors actually did those voices. But it sounded like the impressions were so good. I just thought that Leo and De Niro did those voices, but they didn't.
Yeah. But then Martin Scorsese inserts himself, which previously he had been known to do, but he hasn't done it in a long time.
It's been a while.
Inserts himself into the ending of the movie and basically reads Molly Burkhart's obituary in a really like stirring sort of somber moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to make of it. I mean, do y'all have ideas or thoughts about why Thanos showed up at the very end of the movie?
Well, I think it's because one, you find out right before he comes on that the two guys that went to jail, our two main villains, which were Ernest and Hale, both got out. And not only just both got out, but both literally returned basically to the same area. Hale didn't live there, but he would go visit. But Burkhart literally lived with his brother who really didn't go to jail. The brother was just as bad. They basically were
if
still living in the same
yeah.
place. So you hear that, and that's a gut punch, obviously. After giving everything that you've seen, it's a gut punch. And then he comes, and you're right, it's a very somber moment. He reads her eulogy or what's on her capstone or what's on the eulogy, and it's a very somber. And I think he's doing it because he's trying to say, I understand I just gave you a crime movie. I understand it's from the white perspective, but I do care about the people who were impacted by this stuff. And I want to let you know that I, the director of this film and the person who brought it to your vision, I do care. And it's not like I just feel like these are just random people like any of the other people that have killed.
These are just random movie characters. Like, this means something to me.
This means something to me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. It was a great touch. It was a great way to cinematic, but it's also like it got the heartstrings. It accomplished everything it wants to accomplish with it.
And it's better than just putting up like, the black
screen
white text. Like
I totally agree.
Molly Burkhart died and blah blah blah. Like you feel it more.
I've never seen this before. Yeah,
Same.
instead of the white title card or whatever, the black title card, like it is the best way that I think I've seen the epilogue of a movie go, basically. And Yeah, but
Yeah,
I will say,
the only thing I can think of that comes even kind of close is like at the end of Black Klansman when Spike Lee just puts in all the like news footage of like shit that
Oh, that shit was hard to
just
watch, man. Oh my
exactly.
god.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can
Oh.
think of where it was like I was just sitting in the movie like, man, fuck, like that shit tough. But this is like obviously a different type of thing, but I think it has a similar effect where you're like, oh yeah, this is like real life shit that really matters and is very fucked up, and I'm like moved by it now.
And
I
it's
will.
also important to note that Scorsese, while this is like the epilogue of the movie, and he says the final words of the movie, he's not the final shot of the movie. And I think that's just it's just knowledgeable. It's just a great touch. Like, I can't end the movie on my face. This isn't about me or white people. And so we end with kind of this tribal dance that's shot from above and pans out. And it's just beautiful. And you end on that shot, and that shot will stick with me forever. Like, there's something about it that really, like, I almost broke down when I saw that shot the first time. I just thought it was so beautiful. It was such a perfect endpoint to the movie and the story they were trying to tell. And and you could tell, obviously, this is not a story about the Osage, but it is a story about the Osage. And in the moments where he needed to make it about the Osage, he did. And I really appreciated that, because if I felt like this was something where he came in and made a mockery of these people, or came in and basically treated them as like other subjects in his film, or people that are just more people to show die, it would have been a very wrong tone, and the movie wouldn't have worked. But he got it totally right, and ending on that final shot, I thought was a perfect way to send off the movie and to pay respect to those people who not only really went through that, but also their descendants. There are people that are descendants of the people that we saw in the film that are still alive, and you have to treat their memories with some respect. And I thought he did the best that he could with that. If you're going to tell the story from the perspective of the white person, he still did the best he could with that. And that final shot was just another touch of that.
I will say at the very end of the movie, when Scorsese showed up, a older gentleman leaned over to his wife and said, "That's Martin Scorsese." And I said on Twitter, not unlike how I did to my wife when like Thanos showed up at the end of the movie. That's Martin Scorsese.
Or it's like all the old Marvel movies where you're like, that's Stan Lee. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's the same shit.
He has more in common with those movies than he's willing to admit, including whatever dumb shit that he and Joe Russo are going back and forth about. Anyway,
Joe Russo named his dog's name. Scorsese's dog's name is Oscar. So Russo named his dog Box Office.
lame.
Not gonna lie, I thought it was funny.
I laughed. I'm sorry.
I respect the bit.
I think it's stupid. I think it's so dumb.
If his dog is actually named Box Office, then yeah, that's dumb. But if it was just for the bit,
I'm sure he just said it for the bit.
Yeah, if it's just a bit, I love that. That's funny.
I do love the Don Draper meme of Scorsese. I don't think about you at all, which we know is not true. But anyway, Killers of the Flower Moon. Go see it before. I really cannot recommend enough seeing this on the biggest screen possible before. It just looks incredible before it comes onto Apple and you watch it on your iPhone. Like this deserves to be seen in a theater. Anyway, what are we watching? I have watched so many movies. I watched copious amounts of movies on an airplane.
What'd you watch?
So I think I watched 6 movies on the flight.
All movies you hadn't seen before, or some you had?
Huh?
All movies you hadn't seen before, or a mixture?
I think it was all movies I hadn't seen before. I watched 3. I watched 3 features, and then I watched a couple stand-up specials. Actually,
got it.
But
I was gonna say, how long is this goddamn flight?
It's like 3 hours to Toronto, and then 6 hours to the UK. So enough to knock them out, but and then sometimes you're trying to sleep or whatever. But the thing about flights now is they've just like folded and put movies that came out like 2 months ago that are on there. If they're on streaming, they're on airplanes now.
Yeah.
So I watched Blackberry, real fucking cinema.
Real cinema.
Unbelievable.
Did you see Blackberry?
I still haven't seen it now.
You're gonna like it. It's really good. They did a great job.
It's so good, man.
Is it on Apple now? Like,
I'm sure you can rent it. Yeah.
I want to pay money for it.
Don't pay money. It's worth the money. I watched it in the theater, but it's really well done. It's really well done.
I like in a post social network world, like this is the best one of these like brand movies that has come out in a long time. I think
I agree with that.
Better than Air?
Yeah, I liked it more than Air. I had a better time.
I think I like Air and Blackberry equally. Something
Air,
about
it's
Affleck
a different
and David,
movie though.
It's very different. It's very totally. It's very different. It's way more like nobody knows who the fuck these people are to start a BlackBerry, so we don't have to treat them with the same deference we have to treat Phil Knight with. But it's very good.
I mean, the performance that Glenn Howerton is giving is unreal.
It really is.
He's just like on a 10 the entire movie. He's like, I'm gonna buy this whole fucking league. Yeah. I watched Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Delightful film.
Rules, dude.
Delightful.
Pure joy.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
A weird movie to watch on a plane full of people, but
fair enough. I watched it in the theater by myself, which also weird.
Might be weird,
yeah. Like that movie rules, man.
I thought it was delightful, man. Amy Adams, awesome. Like, love her. I think
Rachel McAdams.
Or no, Amy Adams. Rachel McAdams. Yeah, she's incredible.
I have beef with Rachel McAdams right now. We have beef. We are at odds.
At odds? Why?
Because pretty much the entire Mean Girls cast came together to do a Walmart commercial, which was fucking incredible. Mean Girls is one of my favorite movies ever made, and the only person missing is Rachel McAdams because she refuses.
Well, she's
just
dead.
Got these MCU checks.
Oh wait, no, she didn't die in Mean Girls. She just got hit by that bus.
She got hit by a bus, but she survived, and she refuses to do it. They even got dug up Lindsay from whatever whatever the hell Lindsay Lohan's been going on these days. They even got her to do it. Come on, Rachel. It would have been fun. One MCU day on set
still coming in
to make me smile. MCU checks are literally still coming in. She doesn't.
Y'all, the rest of y'all ain't got shit to do.
Yeah, whenever
I got shit to do.
Whenever her 10 minutes of Doctor Strange 1 plays on TNT, she gets that check in the mail.
Y'all striking for residuals. I got them. Like,
you know how many times they play The Notebook on cable? Infinity, honestly. And then I watched You Hurt My Feelings.
Never heard of that.
It was
the Julia Louis-Dreyfus movie. I also like that one.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. It doesn't really go anywhere, which may be the point, but
yeah, it's definitely like this is just relatable thing, and then they're like, okay, that's over now. Like,
yep. This was a problem that could have been. They could have but it's the first movie that I've seen like where they don't communicate and then eventually they communicate. It's not like the lack of communication like derails whatever's happening in their marriage. It just is like, okay, we worked that out, and so I thought it was okay. Yeah, I thought it could have been funnier.
Like creatives go through. It's like, you're in a relationship with someone, you're a creative, they tell you they love your work, and then you find out, oh, they don't like my work. They think I suck.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of movie critics relate to that, and they're like, oh shit, this is me.
It's definitely a movie about New York writers made by New York writers.
Yeah.
Take that for what it is. So yeah, I watched that, and then I watched like Mark Maron's HBO special, which is not bad, and maybe another thing, but I can't really remember. Oh no, Argentina. I did watch another feature film, Argentina 1985, which was nominated for Best Foreign Film, and I think it won the Foreign Language Film, and then I think it won the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Language Film last year. Unreal. Tej, I know you like.
What is it about?
It is about the first time since the Nuremberg trials that a military dictatorship regime was tried and found guilty in a court of law.
Whoa.
It is heavy, but it is funny and moves.
Funny?
I can't describe it. There's really lighthearted moments and funny moments, and it's on Amazon right now for free. It was an Amazon picture.
I'm definitely gonna watch this shit.
Watch it.
Is it in Spanish? Or?
It is in Spanish. But Tej is already a subtitle king, so
yeah, I don't ever mind watching foreign language films because I got those subtitles popping no matter what.
Right. So Argentina 1985. I cannot recommend it enough. I thought it was a brilliant movie.
I will add it to the list.
Dex, what are you watching?
Honestly, I've been kind of slacking on the movies and TV show front. I did finally see Dumb Money, though.
You're always slacking on the TV show front. You didn't have to say that.
I am always slacking on the TV show front. I'm gonna get back to Loki. I'm gonna get back to Physical, and that'll probably be it. To be honest with you, those might be the last 2 TV shows I watched this year. But Dumb Money was interesting. It still feels a little too soon to make pandemic movies. Like
I thought so too until I watched it. Then I liked it.
I liked it fine, but it's like seeing the pandemic in a movie. I'm still like, ugh, like and also
when anybody's ever wearing masks and stuff, I'm like, oh, come on.
Like this is
not that I have anything against masks. It's just hard to watch.
I'm sure that disclaimer.
Sorry.
That disclaimer.
I'm sure I've seen it in other movies at this point, but seeing TikTok like in a film is just weird. Like,
oh yeah, like seeing stonks, you know what I mean? Like, come on.
It's like this is too soon. This just happened. Like at least when like the social network came out, it was like, yeah, we're all on Facebook right now, but like it looks different, Yeah. Like this, I can literally just go look up these tweets right now that they're talking about, like it's weird. But I thought the story was like good and interesting, and it taught me some things I didn't know about that whole situation. So yeah, it was cool. I give it like a B plus.
I wanted to see it, but I do agree with you. I hate how quickly they pump out these current events movies now.
Yeah, it bothers me too. But Dumb Money, I thought was super well done, and like they did a couple things I've never quite seen. How they integrated the social media stuff into the movie. Plus, the soundtrack fucking rocks, and I love Shailene Woodley, so I was in. I was all the way in.
I do love Shailene Woodley.
Speaking of not wearing masks and anti-vaxxing.
No comment. Is that all you watched, Dex? You've really been slacking. You're not lying.
A lot of sports. It's about that time. I spend my free time watching sports right now. But since baseball's over and the Texans are apparently bad again, I might have some free time.
What have I been watching? I saw the new Fincher movie that's coming to Netflix in November. It's called The Killer. It stars not Skarsgård. What's his face? What's his name?
I'll let you get there.
God, how am I forgetting this white man's name? I'm not gonna remember his name.
Fassbender.
Fassbender. There you go. Yes, it's got Fassbender. It's got a couple other people of note, but I think that they're trying to keep a lid on the cameos, so I won't say them. But it's cool. It is not top tier Fincher. It is not Gone Girl level, but it is a fucking ride. I saw it in a movie theater. I was lucky enough to see it in a movie theater. I had a great time. The sound editing and the soundtrack of this film fucking slaps. Fassbender is great, and also Fassbender is fucking jacked. Oh my god, he looks like he was trying out for the Northman. He is fucking jacked.
He hasn't been in a movie in 5 years and has just been like racing Formula One cars.
Dude, that dude is jacked. That dude has been in the fucking gym or drinking protein or probably both. But it's a very straightforward film. It's a very predictable film in certain ways, and the ending leaves a little bit to be desired, in my opinion. But there are certain moments where you are going to feel things that you have not felt before when you watch this film. It was very sleek. You can't miss with Fincher. This guy is him. I still will not forgive Netflix for taking Mindbender from us. I will never, ever, ever forgive you for taking that from us. Mindhunter. What you stole from us will never be forgotten. And this will not make up for that. But I did enjoy it. A lot of people will see it when it hits Netflix, and it's a good time. It's not a long film at all. It's short. You'll enjoy it. I also saw.
We're going to review that, by the way. I'm going to mandate that. We're going to
absolutely crazy that this is Fassbender's first movie since X-Men Dark.
Since X-Men.
I think he got the paycheck for those movies and was like, I'm fucking out. I'm out.
He was on
Fuck
like
this.
Every like 40 under 40 like list you can think of for actors, and then he just like stopped being in good shit for a long time.
Worst agent in Hollywood. Had to. He was like nominated for Oscars and doing the thing, and then he was just like hey, what if I just did 3 X-Men films, an Assassin's Creed film, some weird bad alien movies, The Snowman, which is apparently like the worst movie of all time, and then the worst X-Men movie.
Just insane.
This is a
Bro,
good return for him. He does a great job, and it's a lot of him. Obviously, he is the titular killer. I had a great time watching it. Did I talk about? I don't remember how long it's been since we've potted. Did I talk about Radical, the Christopher Zala film? Did I talk
No.
about this movie yet? Because it's gonna. I think it might contend for Oscars in some capacity, not for Best Picture, but it's a Mexican film. It's called Radical. I saw it at a film festival, and it's about basically an inner city school. This is a true story, by the way, based on a true story. It's about an inner city school teacher that does these like weird teaching methods, and he teaches at this like alternative school where all the quote unquote bad kids go. And it's just a movie about how he's able to connect with the kids and how he's able to tap into a different way of thinking for the kids. And he's been the teacher, the real life teacher has been doing this now for 30 something years, but it kind of starts at the beginning of his career at this school, and it's very well done. It's super emotional. The kids are phenomenal. The lead actor is like a huge deal in Mexico, so it's going to be very popular just off the strength of that alone. But it is a pretty good film, and it's just in the theaters like right now. So if you get to see Radical, I don't know where it's going to stream, but if you get a chance to go see Radical, it is a great movie. Think Stand and Deliver, but a little bit more heartfelt than Stand and Deliver. It's pretty great. I had a good time.
Eugenio Derbez, he has been in. Yeah, I think he's a Mexican legend, but he all of a sudden was in like random like C-list comedies in America that got like no play. Like
So his
Overboard,
American. This
How
will
to
be
Be
a
a
better
Latin
entry to the
Lover.
American.
but he was
This will be
also
a
in the
better entry
Dora
to the
movie.
American
So
market. Oh, that's right. He's great. He's the title character. He's great, and it's just these kids are just they make you fall in love with them immediately. It's just a very well done movie. It's in Spanish, so there's a chance that it could. We don't know yet. I literally saw it when it was like premiering. So, but there's a chance that it could be nominated for best foreign film. It is a
he
chance.
was in Coda. He was the teacher
He's in Coda. Yeah, he's the he's and this movie feels a lot like Coda, by the way. This movie feels a lot like Coda. And that's how American audiences would know from Coda. I forgot to say that. But yeah, he's the teacher in Coda. So it's a similar role, obviously, because he's a teacher again, but it's a little different than Coda. I would say it's a better movie than Coda. It's not going to be as awarded as Coda, but I think it's a better movie than Coda.
Invincible, Bike.
Back.
So
By
back.
the time you hear this, we'll be back. Not only that, by the time you hear this, we'll get the fucking Gen V finale. It is time. Gen V is him. I'm watching Gen V. I'm watching Loki. Gen V is him. They did it again. They fucking did it again. Dex hasn't watched any of this shit. They did it again, bros. This is as good, if not better, than The Boys. It's been a phenomenal season. I cannot wait for the season finale.
I like my superheroes very simple and very, very nice to people. All right.
You still can't
I can do this
what?
all day.
He hasn't watched any of The Boys.
No,
you are crazy.
I won't. I'm sorry. I'm good.
Unreal.
I don't need these.
You watched Ant-Man 3, but did not watch The Boys. That's insane to me.
Paul Rudd's a plucky young man.
He watched more of Moon Knight.
That's so nasty. That's actually the nastiest one because Moon Knight is fucking awful, and you watch some of that. You at least owe The Boys one episode.
I watched all of Moon Knight.
Oh, no.
Yuck, dude.
I did too, but that's because I'm a sicko, and I wish I did.
I am a sicko.
3 episodes, I was out.
Marvel,
you did the right thing. You made the right decision.
Marvel didn't find my limit until they started putting out animated shit that was like spinoff. Then I was like,
okay, you know what? I'm done.
Hold on.
But yeah,
he draws Secret Invasion. You didn't watch no fucking Secret Invasion.
I watched the first I think it's 6 episodes, and I watched the first 4. So I haven't.
You didn't miss anything. Don't finish it. That shit stinks.
That article came out today, and it is basically highlighting all the things that we are talking about right now.
And that we've been talking about on this podcast for the last couple of years.
I didn't even turn on Secret Invasion. None of this shit feels important to me anymore.
You didn't miss anything by not turning on Secret Invasion. The shit was the only cool thing that happened in Secret Invasion is the dude that plays Bob Marley he's like a villain and he's cool. That's it. That's literally
I read the stuff that I missed at the end of Secret Invasion. I was like, okay, I didn't need to watch that. That's fine.
fucking awesome. television.
I will be watching Loki. I just am behind. But I'll be back in there for the Marvels. Like nothing ever happened.
Well, I will be seated for the Marvels. I will be seated. I'll be in there.
All right. That has been a One Take Podcast. You can find us One Take Podcast on Twitter, One Take Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, I guess, if you're so inclined. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch these episodes in real time. One Take Podcast on YouTube. So number One Take. I think it's ONETAKEPOD on
Yeah, it's spelled out.
Yeah, on YouTube. The number One Take Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah. Shoot us some movie recommendations. Tell us what you're watching. We'll read that. Like, we read everything that you send to us because I'm bored at work. And yeah, also what I'm watching, Spider-Man 2. Awesome.
Swag. Real cinema.
Siege, I know you're playing. But yeah, so follow us there. Tell us what you think about those things. Tell us what you think about the movies. Go watch Killers of the Flower Moon. Dex, what also are we doing? What else?
Hashtag support Florence Pugh, baby. We are out here.
We're out and we're out. All right.
It's been a quiet year for Florence. I don't like that.